Prime Minister Mark Carney is defending the Liberals' controversial gun buyback program. This is just days after the minister in charge of its rollout criticized it in a leaked audio recording. A pilot phase starts next month in Nova Scotia. Meanwhile, Saskatchewan, Alberta and Ontario have all said they will not participate. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says the program misses the mark.
They are going to rip $750 million away from our border and police services to harass duck hunters and farmers by banning the firearms they use.
Farmers, duck hunters using AR-15s to hunt. I don't see that. I don't see that in my great province of Alberta.
This gun ban applies to 10 and 12 gauge shotguns, which are used by the great people of Alberta and all Canadians for duck hunting.
Alberta Justice Minister Mickey Amery joins me now. Nice to see you, Minister. Thanks for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me.
So you say the Alberta government will not be enforcing what you call the federal gun grab. What does that mean exactly?
Well, it means this. Since the federal government first introduced this confiscation scheme, we've been absolutely and unequivocally clear. We will oppose any policy that undermines law-abiding firearms owners, including ineffective and extremely expensive buyback programs that don't actually speak to the root cause of the problem.
So just so I'm clear, are you saying that any licensed gun owner who owns a prohibited firearm after the amnesty period, will they face criminal charges in your province? It's not clear to me where that is at.
Well, look, we know that this program is in disarray. We've heard from the federal minister about some of the things that he believes that the program is about. We have worked on a number of different initiatives with our federal counterparts as well to try and work to a solution that works for everybody. Right now, this is in its infancy. The program in Cape Breton hasn't even begun yet. We know that federal officials have been receptive to conversations with provincial officials here in Alberta, and we're telling people just to wait and see as the program develops.
What should they expect, though, firearms owners in your province, when that amnesty period is over? Do you think that police in Alberta will be looking for folks that have these now prohibited firearms and charging them with federal crimes? Because that is what the law states. Is that something that people in your province should be prepared for?
Well, look, we've said that we will not cooperate with the confiscation scheme. We will not participate in any federal programs that create criminals out of law-abiding Albertans. And so in response to that, we've prevented our municipalities in Alberta from crafting piecemeal arbitrary firearms legislation. We've notified our policing agencies that enforcement of this gun grab is not a priority for our police detachments, that they need to be focusing on criminals and illegal activity. We've also provided guidelines to our Crown prosecutors that prosecuting these charges stemming from this scheme is of low priority, and we've developed regulations making it absolutely clear that anyone looking to act as a confiscation agent for the federal government must obtain a provincial license or be in breach of provincial laws. The bottom line is this: we stand by our law-abiding gun owners, and we'll do everything that we can to make sure that honest Albertans are not made into criminals by illogical and politically motivated policies.
Fair enough. But under our Constitution, you well know that criminal law is essentially exclusively federal jurisdiction, at least drafting criminal law. Does it not set a bad precedent for provinces to be picking and choosing which federal criminal laws they like and telling police what they should and should not enforce?
Well, look, we've been very clear about demanding specifics about this program. We've been asking about deadlines. We've been asking about the total cost. We've been asking about confiscation details and information about the program in general, and all we've received thus far are blank stares. I mean, look, is it voluntary? Is it compulsory? We've heard conflicting information throughout the years, and little, if any, information has been gathered at these technical briefings. What we do know is that the rationale, and we heard this from the federal minister just recently, is largely political, and it's not grounded in any logic, because we know that it fails to address the root cause of these issues, and that is illegal guns coming in from other places. Despite nearly $1 billion being committed to this program thus far, not a single dollar has been spent to shore up our border security, increase policing, support our prosecutions, or helping to reform the laws that are the real problem here. And that's what we're demanding from the federal government right now.
In fairness, the last Liberal government did roll out a $1 billion border package, but I take your point that $750 million will be spent apparently on this buyback program if they stand it up as they intend to do and if they actually buy back as many guns as they're projecting. Given that your province will be effectively opting out, we've also heard from the Ontario Provincial Police that they will not participate in this program. They do not want to be a broker for the federal government collecting these firearms, these prohibited firearms, after the amnesty period is over. In your view, does this ban have any chance of succeeding if essentially it's unforced in large swaths of the country?
Well, I think the whole program has been flawed from the very beginning. We know that these guns, the vast majority of law-abiding gun owners are not the ones committing these illegal crimes. We know that they're stemming from the inflow of firearms from south of the border, from other provinces. And what we've been saying from the very beginning is that we're not going to make criminals out of our law-abiding gun owners. What we are asking for is that $750 million initial commitment, we know that that's an initial commitment and it could balloon to much more, that money be spent on other things, on law enforcement, on prosecutions, on shoring up our borders so that the stem of illegal guns does not come in through south of the border or other provinces. Quite frankly, Canadians are sick and tired of policies that target law-abiding, honest people and not the criminals. We know that the entire criminal justice system has problems. We know that the catch and release policies of the federal Liberal government have created disarray in our provinces all across Canada. This is not a problem unique to Alberta, and we're asking the federal government to focus on the root cause of the issue.
You mentioned the federal public safety minister, Gary Anand. He was caught, as you relayed to us earlier, saying on tape that this buyback program, he would do things differently if he could start from scratch, and that the government is facing political pressure from Quebec. That's why they're moving ahead on this. What do you make of that justification from the public safety minister?
Well, look, it's what we've been saying all along. This is an ideologically motivated policy. It's not rooted in logic. It's not rooted in facts. What we're asking for here is to go back to the drawing table, reevaluate, work with the provinces. We're all on the same page when it comes to public safety. We're all on the same page in making sure that our provinces and our communities are safe, and we're willing to work with the federal government when it comes to that. But that starts with curbing the stem of illegal guns. That starts with reforming our bail laws. That starts with reforming our sentencing rules. And it starts with making sure that our communities are safe. That means empowering our policing agencies. That means empowering our prosecutors to do the job that they were hired to do. It does not mean making a criminal out of somebody trying to feed their family or shooting recreationally.
I get your point about how most guns used in the commission of a crime are smuggled, they're illegal, many of them from the United States. 9 in 10 guns, for example, seized by the Toronto Police Service last year were illegal firearms coming in from the United States. And that's a number that's been repeated for many years. That is the main source of these crime guns. But there's the other thing to consider with firearms, Minister, and that's that it's not just about crime. I mean, I was looking at some of the stats in terms of other firearms injuries, and between 2016 and 2020, 4,000 people died from firearm injuries. 3,100 people were hospitalized. Most of them were caused by self-harm. From your perspective, do you think that there's anything we can do to tamp down the number of firearm injuries that we're seeing in this country that are not necessarily tied to crime?
Yeah, thank you for that question. What we do have with law-abiding gun owners is a very robust system when it comes to acquiring a firearms license. That includes a gun safety course. A lot of firearms owners take hunter education courses as well. And we know that the vetting process for providing somebody with a license is very robust. They go into the criminal history of an individual. They go into areas of concern. And I think that the money that is being diverted to this program would be far better spent making sure that gun safety, hunter education, and the robust vetting process be improved as ways that we can improve gun safety in this country.
All right, let's leave it there. Thank you so much, Alberta Justice Minister Mickey Amery. Nice to see you, sir. Thanks for coming on.
My pleasure. Thank you.